Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the best Uchigatana Nagakiba katana build guide in Elden Ring. Now, these katanas go very well together, and they deal a ton of damage, so that's without any buffs there. We can actually do quite a bit of damage. I have the keen scaling on these, and I'll be showing you a build at level 150. Now, if you're a higher level, I'll show you where to put the stats, or if you're a lower level. So we went with 50 Vigor here, 22 Mind, 28 Endurance, which allows us to get our poise up to 56 in a medium roll. I also went with 18 Strength, which is required to hold the Nagakiba, so we can go with that. And then 70 dexterity. Now if you're a lower level, go with lower dexterity. This is the stat we're going to scale up our damage with, so as you increase in levels you can increase that. I also went with 15 faith and 16 arcane. This allows us to use flame grant me strength, as well as some dragon communion and blood flies, which is going to be useful for setting up bleed. So I would recommend going with the white mask here alongside the Lord of Blood's exaltation, as putting both of these on will allow us to deal 30% more damage after triggering blood loss, which is actually quite a bit of extra damage. I also went with the Rod and Sword insignia here and the Claw Talisman. So this is if you want to do jump attacks. If you don't want to do jump attacks, then we can also go with like the Shard of Alexander with double slash is really nice, but also we could go with the Millicent's prosthesis. This will increase our dexterity by 5 and the damage we deal with successive attacks, and we can attack pretty quickly with these weapons. So I also like to have frostbite grease on here, but also I like to have the bloodflame blade. So typically what we're going to be doing to set up is going with flame grant me strength. You can also put a dagger in the offhand with golden vow on it. So we got the bloodflame blade there, and that's going to give us a big boost to our damage as we're able to deal fire. And what we're going to be doing is just going in and attacking like that. So pressing L1 allows you to do this dual attack here, but if you want to go with more of a piercing attack, you can go with a charge attack there. And this will also deal additional blood loss buildup, so it's a nice way to go about dealing damage. We can also go with the frostbite grease, and I'll show you another strategy we can go with to increase both our frostbite buildup alongside the bleed buildup, as they go together extremely well. So the typical way of going about combat is just going with the jump attacks. Do a really good job because you can swipe with both weapons and then follow it up with a quick attack just like that. And then also the charge attacks come out pretty quickly, so I also like to go with those. And yeah, typically going with the quick attacks here is nice because it does have a very good combo attack. But I'll show you the other way we can also set up here too. So let's go back to the grace to reset it. This is nice because we can put something in the Uchigatana here, which I'll show you, that makes it deal even more bleed buildup. So if we want to go the alternative route, I would also just recommend to always set up with flame grant me strength. And you can also just go with the swarm of flies, because this is going to trigger blood loss buildup, and it does a really good job at that. So two-hand the Uchigatana and put the seppuku on it, which is going to trigger the blood loss buildup, giving us that 30% boost to our damage. And then we can bring out the Nagakiba again, and then use frostbite grease on it. So then we have frostbite on one weapon and bleed buildup on the other. So this will deal increased blood loss buildup alongside the frostbite. And once frostbite is procced on the weapon, it's going to deal an additional 20% damage to the target. But it also does a chunk damage similar to what blood loss buildup does. It does 10% of their damage, or 10% of their health, so you can continually proc this. And if you want to remove the frostbite, you can go with fire damage, so you can bring out the bloodflame blade to remove it and then re-proc it again. So the nice thing about going with this is you get a ton of extra damage with the frostbite. I also have the bloody slash on the Nagakiba here. It does hurt yourself a little bit, but the damage it does is incredible, and it hits in a pretty large range here. So you can see there we're able to stagger him there with the shield up. But I also really like the double slash. That's another weapon ash that works really well in the Nagakiba, especially if you have the frostbite grease on it, because you'll be able to stack up the frostbite build up really quickly with that. So on the Nagakiba, we had bloody slash there, but we can also easily just go with the double slash, which I think is really well, because it makes it somewhat like the Rivers of Blood, which is a very popular weapon in this game. So I'll just proc up the flame grant me strength, and we'll two-hand it just to show the damage potential with this if we have the frostbite grease on it. So applying the frostbite grease, and now if you have any boss, like if it's weak to rot, you can go with the rot and apply rot to them. So that is another option you can go with. So yeah, you just go with that attack there, and it does a ton of damage, and it hits from a pretty far range. That's the nice thing about the Nagakiba. You can see there with 4 hits, we were able to stack up the frostbite buildup, which will deal an additional 20% damage. So if we trigger the blood loss buildup alongside the, so the blood loss buildup will give us 30% more damage, and then with the frostbite, they take 20% more damage, which gives us over 50% extra damage to the target, which is just incredible. So this build shreds down the enemies very fast in Elden Ring, and you can see there, it has a pretty good range on it as well. So Nagakiba and Uchigatana go together like PB and J. They're a very good combination. So yeah, if you found this video useful, please hit that subscribe button below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.